Honourable Speaker, it is indeed a great pleasure to move that Parliament debate on 2013-2014 consolidated annual review of the Water Authority of Fiji.
Is there a seconder?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I second the motion.
Honourable members, I now invite the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Natural Resources, the Honourable Sanjay Kirpal, to speak on the motion. You have the floor, sir.
Honourable Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister, the Honourable Ministers, the Honourable Leader, and the Honourable Members of Parliament. On behalf of the Honourable Members of the Standing Committee on Natural Resources, I take this opportunity to speak on the motion in regards to the Committee Review Report on 2013-2014 Consolidated Annual Review of the Water Authority of Fiji, which was tabled in Parliament on Thursday, 4th April 2019. Honourable Speaker, sir, the bipartisan committee report examines, compare, analysis the performance of the authority's administration, organizational structure, financial management functions and programs. The committee in its review process has identified concerns relating to the authority's management, extension and service delivery. The review exercise was made possible through consultation and verification meetings with the senior staff of the authority. In its deliberation, the committee made its recommendations and wished to highlight a few major ones as listed below. To improve on its annual financial reporting system to be aligned with the Ministry for Economy, the FMIS. Improve on its gender balance in terms of authority staff recruitment as per SDG 5. Be more transparent in its tender process by using other mediums rather than tendering alone. The monitoring of water and waste management service to be more vigilant, particularly the control of alga bloom by environmental officers. Implementation of more water supply developments in the rural and maritime areas. Continue improving technology and customer services. The committee wishes to acknowledge the board and the staff of the Water Authority of Fiji for the work done in 2013 and 2014 and over the past years, even with the nationwide challenges faced by the organization. Overall, the committee was satisfied with the operation of the Water Authority of Fiji for the period 2013-2014. With those sentiments, I thank you, Honourable Speaker, sir.
I thank the mover of the motion. Honourable members, the floor is now open for debate on the motion. Honourable Jone, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the committee for the work that it has done and the report that it has put together and the recommendations that have been made, which is something that I and the Ministry of Infrastructure and also the board will be asked to have a look at. In the meantime, however, I thought I'd like to give some updates on some of the issues that are highlighted in the recommendations that are part of this report. In the first recommendation, it has asked that the Water Authority of Fiji consider the appointment of a Chief Executive Officer. Chief Executive Officer of the Water Authority of Fiji was appointed in December of 2019. He's Mr. Barry Omanson, the person that has come to the authority with a lot of extensive water-related background and executive management ability. And he has the confidence and the backing of the board to be able to take Water Authority of Fiji to the next level. And we look forward to him working well with the board to be able to raise the performance of Water Authority so that it can fulfill the mandate that it was established to deliver. On the second recommendation that has been made that Water Authority should consider restructuring through its reforms to encourage accountability through its key performance indicators. Water Authority has now developed a draft strategic plan for the period of 2020 to 2025. And together with this, it has developed a roadmap that covers the areas of its direction, its structure, its culture, and also the reform of the systems and processes that it intends to put into place. And as part of this draft strategic plan, it has identified three key areas that it needs to focus on. First of all, the area of its assets is water and wastewater. Secondly, looking at reforming the culture within that particular organization and more efficient and effective service delivery by looking at its systems and processes. This strategic plan is something that will look at consolidating and getting the basics right in terms of assets, people, and the systems and processes in the organization. That strategic plan should then form the basis of its annual business plans and the departmental plans and the individual basic plans for all of the offices in the authority. The third recommendation is talking about improving on annual financial reporting systems, and it recommends that the Water Authority financial reporting system be aligned with the Ministry of Economy's FMIS system. Water Authority has already undertaken this. It's aligning its financial reporting system to the Ministry of Economy's FIMS requirements. On the fourth recommendation in terms of gender balance, Water Authority has now put in place a draft gender equality policy to promote gender mainstreaming within the organization. Currently, in terms of its employees, about 12% of the staff of Water Authority are females, but it is looking at securing more qualified females to enter into the work that is undertaken by the Water Authority. For recommendation 5, which recommends that it be more transparent in its tender process by using other mediums rather than tender link alone, I think the important point to note that tender link is a very transparent process because it does not limit any, it opens up to competitive bidding from suppliers around the Pacific, including Australia and New Zealand, and because of its open nature and its transparent nature, there can be up to 150,000 potential suppliers and contractors who can link on tender link. There are 6 recommendations for Water Authority to consider looking to other water sources for developments such as the Wainikavika or the Navo Irrigation Dam and also the Nawaidhamba Akil Dam in Nandi. This is something that Water Authority is currently doing now. It's investigating the feasibility of using the Wainikavika or the Navo Irrigation Dam to source it as an additional raw water to supplement the raw water supply from the current Wainikavika gravity source. And Water Authority is also looking into the second recommendation, which is investigating the feasibility of using the Akil Dam in Nawaidhamba as a potential source to supply the Nawaidhamba area. The initial investigations are showing that the yield from the dam might not be sufficient to meet and sustain demand, especially during the dry season and the prolonged dry periods. As you know, we are now moving away from the wet season into the dry season because water level in that dam dropped significantly during this period. So there's still more tests to be carried out by Water Authority of Fiji to confirm the quality of water and to see the capacity of the dam to sustain the level of supply that is required during the dry periods. For the 7th recommendation, the monitoring of water and waste management services, this is something that the Water Authority has been undertaking through its National Water Quality Laboratory, which conducts monthly water sampling for water intakes around Fiji and also does fortnightly testing for water quality sampling, especially for the Vaturu Dam. There's a whole series of exercises that it undertakes in conducting that sampling and conducting that testing to make sure that water is safe for those that use the water that comes out of various intakes. And also with the algal outbreaks that we've had in the past, Water Authority has learned from those experiences. It has now trained a set of qualified laboratory technicians to determine algae counts and also carry out full physical and chemical sampling for compliance monitoring and water quality surveillance. So all of these are part of the program to overcome the algae outbreak that we've had in the Vaturu Dam in the past. And there's a major also exercise looking at desilting that particular dam and replacing undersized dam fine bubble aerators. Plans are also in place to implement the installation of ultrasonic algae control devices in the lake to control the potential microscopic algae growth and also control any likely algae bloom that may take place in the future in Vaturu Dam. For wastewater, all receiving waters of the 11 wastewater treatment plants are monitored on a monthly basis to gauge the nutrient level and reducing water such as the Lodala Bay and Nandi River. For the 8th recommendation, that Water Authority facilities to be manned with strict vigilance to avoid unwarranted activities that may pose threats to the general public. Water Authority of Fiji has in-house and outsourced security that are in most of the critical assets. And in addition to this, in some of these assets, it also has caretakers in the intake areas, looking after these areas and addressing potential blockages and issues. It is now looking at installing CCTV cameras in critical sites and have planned projects on upgrading current infrastructure, which will also address issues related to OHS and security concerns. For the 9th recommendation, the implementation of more water supply developments in the rural and maritime areas. One of the major targets that we have in our NDP is to provide clean water to all the households in Fiji by the year 2030. And in that plan, we cover both the urban and the rural areas. Over the last 5 years, government has invested a total of approximately more than $62 million to benefit the rural and maritime areas in terms of the water provision. This cost includes rural water cutting, rainwater harvesting, and rural water projects. And for the maritime islands, Water Authority has installed 4 desalination plants and also distributed rainwater harvesting tanks to these maritime islands. In the aftermath of Tropical Cyclone Harold, the NDMO was also involved in getting mobile desalination plants that took out the desalination plants to islands, I think they were Ramuni and Bulia, and used these mobile desalination plants to pump water into the island itself. And I think that is something that you will continue to look at. On the 10th recommendation, Mr. Speaker, sir, to improve technology and customer services, Water Authority of Fiji has been moving over the recent past towards automating its water reticulation system using SCADA, or supervisory control and data acquisition. The central region is almost fully engaged in this SCADA system, and we're looking to hopefully complete the SCADA in the central region in the next financial year, and we'll look to progressively use SCADA systems to cover all of Water Authority's operations. Other technological improvements have included GIS, the use of GIS, and the use of the GenTrack system that Water Authority of Fiji uses for billing, customer accounts, and the complaints management system. Water Authority has also been looking at improving its customer services in registering all customers for e-billing to reduce the cost of printing and bill postages. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, we welcome the report that has been undertaken by the committee, and we will look to work together with the board and the management of Water Authority of Fiji to make sure that they continue to enhance the level of service that they provide to the citizens of this country. Navalia, Mr. Speaker, sir.
I thank the Honourable Minister for his contribution to the debate. Honourable Chikandodo, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I take this opportunity to thank the committee for this report on Water Authority.